Hello Rolf and Julie, how to make flat crackers. Okay, so this is the end result. Nice crunchy flax crackers, and this whole lot here is about 300 grams worth of flax, and it's literally ground flax seed which looks like this. I've grind mine up very fine, and water, and we'll show you how to make some in a short while. I'm making another batch. But first of all, I've already put the butter on. A ton of Marmite. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. I've not had a crunchy cracker for a long time. Delicious. Right, on to making the crackers themselves. I already started grinding the second lot of flax seed. As you can see, it's just golden flax seed from this one from real food source. Reasonably fresh. You don't want old stuff because it will taste a bit rancid. And we're going to grind it so it's nice and fine, almost like flour. It's quite oily, so you can't just leave it in the grinder. You have to shake it up. Bit noisy coming up. Some people don't grind it up as fine. Some people actually leave their flax whole. I prefer it ground up. I don't want to be farting all night after I've been eating my flax because my guts can't get to the centre of the flax. There we go. Another lot. I don't put too much in because, like I say, it's very oily. It tends to stick together. Okay, I'll spare you the noise and just sign off this one. Right, then we've ground up all the flax. 450 grams in here. I'll tell you why shortly, and I'm about to put the water in, and it's literally turning it into a bit like dough on bread. I'm using gloves because it just stops everything sticking to my fingers. So it's literally just mixing in the water. And it's best to mix a load of water in and then leave it for a little while just to soak it up. When I say a little while, just a few minutes, you'll find it will go quite firm. Even if you think you've got it quite squidgy, like that, it will go quite firm in a minute. So I'm just going to leave it like that because I've made myself a cup of tea. And this time, unlike the first batch, I made all plain. I'm going to put some cumin in some of these because cumin is very nice in these crackers. Okay then. I'm just going to leave it to soak like that for a bit. So here we are, a few minutes later. It's gone quite sort of solid. Well, not solid, firm. I'm going to put some more water in. And mangle it up. Right, there we go. Add a bit more water, a bit more still. And ironically, how many cc's in there? Yeah. This is roughly 1 cc for every gram of flax. Hang on, need a little bit more. Oh, crikey. No, that's all right. Sometimes like bread, I think you put too much in. So there we go. Let it get a good mangle. And then I'll come back in a minute when I've got all the stuff ready to roll it out. So to spread this stuff out ready for cooking, what I've done here, I've got some new parchment. Don't ever be tempted to keep the parchment and use it again, because the flax oil that soaks into it will go rancid and you might not smell it and you'll end up with fishy smelling crackers. So fresh parchment, and cook it on top of one of these things. So I've cut 3 pieces. There we go, you can see it there, can't you? Right size. So I'm going to cook it on top of that. Now, in the old days, I used to just get a dob of this, chuck it on there, and you get a nice knife, and you can, if you want, you can just smooth it out. Or if you've got a silicone thing that's a bit thicker, it makes life easier. So you can do it like that, but what I tend to do these days is I've got an old plastic cutting board thing from IKEA. It's one of the thicker ones, the old ones. So this makes nice thick crackers. So I've cut the inside out, as you can see, and then I put that over there like that. It doesn't have to fit. And then I just swap it out roughly with my hands, like that, and a bit on there to get roughly the amount. And then what I do have is a nice piece of thickish plastic. I used to use cling film, but anyway, this is nice slightly thicker piece of plastic. On the top I get my rolling pin, which fits nicely over the edges, and we go like that. Now, I'm not bothered about aesthetics. It's not like we're making them for a competition or anything, and they don't have to be exactly the same thickness all the way through. It's entirely up to you how thick or thin you make them. If they're thinner, they cook quicker, but there's not so much. There's not so much substance as you bite into them. So just hold the end so it doesn't move as I move that down there, like that. It's easy to, I need a bigger rolling pin, so there we go like that. And we roll it out to the edge. Roll it out to the edge, there we go. Look, you can see it's just rolling out nicely, sort of. And then push some over that side a bit, and what we can do is just lift the edge up, get a blob from up here, plonk it down in this corner and roll it out a bit. There we go. Now, I'm not bothered about the edges being exactly square because I'm going to cut them off in a second anyway. So there we go, that's it rolled out, give or take. What I do now is very carefully, whoops, oh, that went a bit wrong up there, never mind, doesn't matter. What I do is now very carefully take this off because it's quite wet, a little bit wetter than normal. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this one when I've finished. Right, get that off, put it back in there, put that back in there. I'm sure you get the drift. I'll take that off. And now just cut down the edges like that. Just slightly cut them, and then at the top there, no sweat if we haven't got it exactly in the corners and everything. It's not like we're feeding King Charles or anything. Don't have to put any razor blades in it. Whoop, keep missing. Here we go, up there like that. Oh, it's actually a bit too squidgy, I think. Yeah, a little bit too squidgy. So this is good if you're going to roll, just spread it out with a knife, or one of them round-ended things that you lift your omelettes out with, whatever they're called. That goes under there. That goes under there like that. Go under there. Oop, take that off. I'm doing this a bit quicker than all for the camera. I'm sure you get the drift though. You can be as careful or as not careful as you like. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put some pepper on it. So take my gloves off. If I can find the pepper. They are very nice with black pepper. So a bit of black pepper all over. Other ways to mix it in, which I would normally do to be honest, but if I want to do some cumin in the next batch. It's rather a not very good mill, I'm afraid. There we go. Here we go, that'll come out nicely. In the corners, all over. Okay. So all I'm going to do now is get my tin, get that in there, put that on like that, and slide it over the tin. And then before we put it in the oven, about 120 degrees C, I'm just going to not necessarily go all the way through, but just lightly score them, so when it comes to being almost done, we can take them out the oven and then we can separate them easily without them just snapping into random pieces, and then we can take them off, just put them in a big pile inside that thing to finally dry out from all sides. So that goes in the oven, and hey presto, we're done. I'll probably be in there an hour or two. Okay, and on to the next one. I'll come back in a minute. So in this batch I'm going to put a bit of ground cumin. Yeah. Just decide however much you want. It's quite strong tasting cumin. I love it. Anyway, so you go mix it in there, just like that. And then have a sniff. Let's put the rest in. Sod it. There we go. And of course you can make sweet ones as well, but I've never tried that. It'd be nice with something like some cardamom in. There we go. There we go. So once again, push it on here. This isn't an old piece of parchment. It's one I used about an hour ago for the little, couple of hours ago, should I say, for the last lot. So it's not been sat in the cupboard for ages. There we go. Get me thingamajig. Just get rid of the excess off the outside. I forgot to do this. There we go. Let me bit of what's it on the top, swaddle it out. I can do most of it by hand, can't you, like that? And then get your rolling pin and roll. Oh, that's the bit. You've got to stretch it like that blooming thing. Anyway, there we go. Rolling it out again. Roly roly. Squidge it out the end like that. Whoops. Of course, the advantage of just sprinkling the seasoning on the top, of course, is that we now haven't got half a batch, a pile of it with herbs in, spices in. So what I'm just going to do, put a little bit under there, like that. There we go. Forgot to put the glove on my left hand, never mind. There we go. Nice and pressed down nice and hard so it squidges it out. There we go. And job done. So pull it back gently like that. Oh, so I told you it's a little bit too wet. Never mind. Never mind. There we go. Nice messy job. Sort of thing kids would love. So there we go. So I'm just going to repeat what I did a minute ago. I'm just going to cut it to the paper. Whoops. There you go. Put it back in there. That's in there. I'm going to try a cardamom one. Cardamom and cumin. So there we go. That can go on top of this tin. Like that. just pull it on top of the tin like that. I'll just it's smooth where it's pulled up. Give it a quick, once again, just a very light scoring, not all the way through, otherwise they'll all curl up individually like that. Like that corner there's missing, but it doesn't matter. Different sizes. If you've got guests coming, make them smaller. There we go, in the oven. And we go on again with the next batch, putting whatever seasoning you want in. Bye bye. And lastly, storage. They'll keep for quite a long time, at least a couple of weeks, whoops, in Ziploc type plastic bags with no air getting into them. There we go, job done. I'll show you the other ones when they come out, because I'm cooking them at slightly higher temperature, 150, see what happens. Okay, bye bye for now.